No matter how much you shake and wiggle, you'll never catch that last little dribble. Askreddit on Reddit Rundown. Women, what are some questions you've always wanted to ask men, but were too embarrassed? What happens to your balls when you run? Are they just banging around? Do they stick between your thighs? Do they end up tucked? I've been dying to know, thanks. Somebody replied. The nutsack isn't always floppy. It scrunches up or loosens. They don't flop when scrunched. Also, underwear keeps it in place. Y'all are straight up staring at our buttholes while we're doing it doggy style, aren't you? What happens if there's a hemorrhoid? Somebody replied. Who would look upon the majesty of the Grand Canyon and complain about a misshapen rock or bush? What does an erection feel like? Somebody replied. It depends if it is your penis or not. Is it true that guys generally hesitate or avoid going up to and talking women that are super attractive? I mean like a 9 or a 10. Is attractiveness/appearance that makes you stall when shooting your shot? Somebody replied. Can't speak for all guys, but what I tell myself, why the hell would someone like her be interested in someone like me? Somebody else replied. I commented this under another comment in this thread, so this is a direct cut and paste, absolutely. True story, there was this really pretty girl in my friend group, all young 20-somethings, in San Diego. We'd hang out, go to parties, go to concerts, go to the beach, etc. I never even considered asking her out because she was way out of my league. One night she and I were the last of our group at the bar. She has no car, so I offer her a ride home. She invites me in for a beer. Cool. We're watching late night TV and she leans her head on my shoulder. Hey, fine. We're buds, right? Then her hand is on my thigh. Weird. I turn to look at her and she's looking in my eyes. I ask if she's okay and she says she'd be better if I kissed her. WTF? She's like a 9 and I'm a 6 at best, maybe a Scranton 8. But, hell yeah. We make out for a bit, but when I go to cop a feel, she breaks it off and says, we've both had a lot to drink. Maybe you should sleep here tonight. I see I've blown it and say, sure. Thanks. She heads to the bedroom and I kick off my shoes and stretch out on the couch. A couple of minutes go by and she comes back and says, are you coming? What the actual EFF? Yeah. That was December 12, 1981. We married April 3, 1982. Still going strong. If it wasn't for her, never would have happened. I'm with someone who buys me flowers to make me smile. What would be something I could do similarly for him that is non-sexual that would brighten his day? Somebody replied. Be the big spoon. Scalp massage. Back rub, not necessarily a massage, either. Next time y'all are watching TV in bed or on the couch, let him lay his head on your chest or lap, and run your fingers through his hair, or just pet his back like a dog. Even better if he's shirtless and you can lightly scratch his back. May not seem like much, but it makes a big impact on us, even if we may not immediately show it. For me, it slows my mind. Helps me stop thinking for. Do pussies generally taste, smell appealing? Somebody replied. Depends on the girl and her hygiene. Some girls keep it cleaner, and therefore more pleasant than others. I think the natural scent and taste of a vag is generally good. It's up to the girl to keep grime and sweat from interfering with those flavors. Just like I do with my own bits and pieces. How much does height matter in attraction? Somebody replied. Unless she's a giant Amazonian lady, height doesn't factor at all. If she is a giant Amazonian lady, I'm free this weekend. Does what our vaginas look like truly matter to you? Like girls having longer lips and such. I've always felt incredibly self-conscious about guys going down on me even if guys have never mentioned it before. Somebody replied. Vaginas are like pizza, whatever it looks like it's still going in my mouth. Do you guys wipe your dick after you go pee? Or do you just shake it, assume it's good, then put it back in your pants? Doesn't that leave a little bit of pee in the tip? Why would you do that instead of just taking a bit of toilet paper and dabbing your ween? Somebody replied, no matter how much you shake and wiggle, you'll never catch that last little dribble. What does pussy feel like? Somebody replied, in the winter stand around in your house naked, to the point you are uncomfortably cold. Then, pull a huge pile of clothes fresh out of the dryer and climb inside the pile. Somebody else replied, then climb out, then back in again. Repeat. Do you play with your balls like we play with our tits? Like juggle them and stuff? Or is that too painful? What is the action that actually hurts balls? Is there anything you think it compares to in female anatomy? What does it feel like to get hit accidentally, not kicked purposefully but like, flicked, etc., in the balls? Somebody replied, what hurts the balls is sudden pressure. For example, if I am running away from my neighbor Jim who just caught me shitting in his lawn, my balls are gently slapping against my leg, which does not hurt. However, when Jim catches me and kicks me in the balls, that is a very sudden application of a very high amount of pressure, which hurts quite a lot. What does it feel like to get hit accidentally, not kicked purposefully but like, flicked, etc., in the balls? A sharp and intense pain that radiates into the lower abdomen. If I had to describe it, it'd be like a super intense and sharp stomach ache. On the balls themselves, you probably know already. Haven't you ever taken a hit to the ovaries or kidney? It's pain to an organ. What makes you want to commit, be exclusive, or get married? Does it have anything to do with your partner or more of I have to be ready within myself first? Somebody replied, for me it was needing to feel like I had personally matured enough to be committed. I didn't want to commit to someone who was clearly ready to commit to me if I wasn't ready and could somehow end up wasting their time. Do you ever worry about what your friends think of the attractiveness of your girlfriend/wife? Like, are you ever worried that people you know don't find her good looking or judge you for being with her? This question is obviously coming straight from my insecurities lol, somebody replied. I actually did have this fear with my last girlfriend. She was a bigger girl and I wasn't really concerned about what they thought, but just didn't want anyone being judgmental toward her. It's hard to explain. I wasn't ashamed of her or anything, just hate the thought of people judging her by her appearance. What are some of your thoughts on girls making the first move? Somebody replied, my first long-term relationship started that way in college. We had hung out and flirted a bunch, culminating in us watching a movie at her apt and her shoving me against a wall when I was about to leave afterward. It was a shock, it was a surprise, and I'll never forget that night so long as I live. Girl nearly half my size just took her shot. What do you think of fatherhood? Do you think the treatment of fatherhood is fair compared to motherhood? Somebody replied, I never wanted kids because I had a painful childhood. I've got a 3-year-old daughter and she's awesome. I like that she likes a lot of the things I do. I'm a wilderness skills instructor and she knows lots of plants already. If she wants to learn knitting, I'll teach her. If she wants to learn friction fires, I'll teach her that too. My wife and I were expecting a boy, but we lost him. That was fucking awful. We are expecting again and it's a boy. I'm pretty excited for that. A couple of empathetic little badasses running around sounds great. For the first 2 pregnancies I was scared. Now I just trust the universe and that we are a good team. What do you think about C-section scars? I have one and I think it's ugly, it juts out and there's a shelf. I'm otherwise quite fit looking, I'm just self-conscious about it. Somebody replied, I've always thought scars are badass. They're like tattoos except they're earned instead of bought. Any cool character in a fantasy movie has some wild scar and that's how you know that character kicks ass. My wife's C-section scar isn't even big or anything, surgeons were on their game, but even if it was big, it just means she did all the work to make our son. She's that badass character in my movie. Do guys really appreciate a woman that makes the move? Whether you are newly dating or married for years? I want him to feel wanted by me and I want to convey that. Or do guys feel it could threaten them a little bit? I know it sounds weird and maybe old school but I have always wondered what the answer is. Thanks. Somebody replied. Appreciate? We are desperate for that. Also, I am not sure about the accuracy of this statement, but the relationships where the women made the first move, according to stats, 86% of them ended in marriages. Also, it feels great to be wanted by someone when all your life you have been doing for everyone else. Do you ever accidentally get poop on your junk? Somebody replied, never ever. But once I pooped in a porta potty and the chemical liquid splashed me on the balls and I was very upset. I know this isn't all men, obviously. Why is a lot of men obsessed with redheads? I've had heard since I was in high school how amazing redheads are to date. Somebody replied, we don't effing know. I like redheads too and I have no idea why. Pretty orange color make monkey brain go ding. Somebody else replied, rarity probably, you don't see a lot of redheads, so when you do it's kind of like seeing a shiny Pokemon, and good lord is that gray Charizard looking mad good right about now. Are my boobs too small for you? Somebody replied. Once, a young man asked a wise man, which is better, small or large boobs? The wise man replied, say you have $1 in coins and $1 in bills. Which has more mass? The coins, by far. The young man said. Yet which has the greater value? The wise man asked. The young man was enlightened. Somebody else replied. I'm an A at best and I've never had a complaint. One guy said he'd like to try to titty bang me. My boobs have literally never met each other, so I thought it would be funny just to let him try. He spent about 10 seconds trying to force my boobs together over my washboard sternum before changing his mind. Was funny as hell. Did your friends actually invited me, or are you just being nice to not make me feel left out? Somebody replied. It all depends on the relationship. If you are chill, don't make everything about you, or kick up a huge fuss, then I am usually fine with you. What gets you uninvited to the next gathering is if you make a big deal out of nothing. If something actually serious happened, it's fine to freak, or have to be the center of attention. One of my buddies brought this girl along to a movie and she talked on her phone the whole time. Uninvited? The next girl came out for supper with us and started crying and freaking out because her favorite Instagram model shut down their page. Uninvited? The next girl got a call that her brother was hit by a car. Totally justifiable freak out. We dropped everything and took her to the hospital. Thanks for listening to Reddit Rundown. Give a thumbs up and subscribe, and help me get to 1,000 subs. Leave a comment below on what kind of topics or stories you would like to hear. You can also check out other videos on my channel. Thanks and have an awesome day.